Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to be working on a little watercolor painting of a fairy, and I think it's been a couple years since I've done a fairy character, so it's kind of fun to revisit some of these more archetypal fantasy characters like this. It's nice to be able to attack it from a unique perspective, but then to still have some of those like standard features that you can put into the character. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna work on this. If you want to get some artwork and a hot drink and we can paint together, that would be lovely. But yeah, let's jump in. Let's talk about this painting, the process, and this fairy will be one of 3 stickers for my March Patreon sticker pack and for the print tier as well. So if you'd like to get these stickers, make sure to sign up before the end of the last day of March. There's a link down in the description. And the print of the month is Judgment, which is one of the tarot cards for my tarot deck that I'm working on. I need to do an update on that, but that is for another day. Anyways, let's jump in. Let's talk about this piece. So one of the things that I have been really thinking about wanting to elevate, and I've been working on a bit, is the way that I approach skin in a lot of ways. I want to be able to paint the shadow shapes on skins better. I want to find better references so that I can do that. And I also want to create much more interesting undertones and variations within the colors so that it feels more dynamic and alive. And I think that this piece was a step in the right direction. It was really fun to work on in that regard. And it's really exciting to have a goal and to feel like you're making steps towards that. But specifically with this one, I tried to include different colors than I normally pick from to layer for her skin. I found that I've fallen into a bit of a rut as far as how I pick my colors, especially for shadows in skin. They tend to end up being the same pigment, just varying degrees of the blue to the purple that I use and how much water I mix, so how potent it is, but it feels extremely repetitive, and I'm ready to break out of that. I have so many paints that could be used in that application and I'd be really happy with, and then I'd get different results. So that was part of it, was just trying to utilize different pigments than usual, that I normally do. And I also tried going in with a warmer establishing shadow. So what I like to do is I like to get like a base layer down for the skin. I'll leave certain highlights sometimes, but oftentimes I will just paint the entire skin one of the lightest shades that it will be. And that just helps bring the undertone where it needs to be. It helps me establish, or at least start to establish, the darks and the lights and how it contrasts with the rest of the piece, or how it will contrast once I paint everything. So I can get that down. And then I like to do a first establishing layer of shadow. And in the past, I'll often do this with just a more pigmented version of that first wash. So say I did a wash with purple, I'll just take that exact same mixture of purple and just make it a little bit more heavy on the paint side, less on the water side, and then I'll put it down where the shadows would be. And this is a little bit of an exploratory process where I start to build up where I think the shadows should be and also where they are in the reference, and just I start chiseling it out and exploring how this piece is going to come together. And for this one, I first off, I started with much better reference. I do like to buy packs of references every now and again to refresh how I'm working, what references I'm using, and I've been trying to direct myself into using the references that I'm buying. I'm trying to make sure that they are a little bit more quality, especially in the lighting, where some of them, they just take really good photos that have very clean lighting. The way that it's positioned makes the shadow shapes very easy to decipher and to paint from. So I'm trying to use those more. And I did make sure that I was following the reference for this of the shadow shapes, and it was really fun. It makes this process so much more exciting and engaging. For one, I feel like I'm understanding the human form better every time I do this because I can see how the shadows actually lay in certain scenarios. So when I am kind of bridging the gaps between my reference and the thing that I've created, the sketch or the pose, it often varies a bit. I don't go straight off of the reference. I like to reposition the hands or have a shift to the way things are, or there's hair covering things up so they're casting shadows. There's all sorts of components that can change the way that I do that. So just being able to get more practice of actually studying how shadows fall on the human form helps so that I can adapt that as I work on future pieces. But anyways, I went in with a warmer wash to establish that, and I really liked that. It gave the kind of ethereal glow to this piece. She felt, I don't know, like there was a little bit more of an undertone, more interest, more subtlety to the way that I was approaching the colors of her skin, and I like that a lot. In the past, I've definitely fallen into the trap of doing a single wash that's just one solid color, and then I will do the shadows, one wash, one color, one type, and I'll build it up, and there will be variations of each layer, but it's like each wash is just kind of that. It's that one color, and I want to use a bit more wet on wet. I want to show the natural undertones of skins, oh my gosh, the way I said that was so creepy, of skin, specifically with like the way that the blood flows so that like your cheeks and your nose are naturally warmer, your ears or fingertips. I want to really enhance those areas so that it feels like the character is alive. Painting the wings was definitely one of the funnest parts of this piece. It was really wet on wet, which I'm trying to get more of in my pieces. So that was already a jump into the pool of enjoying watercolors for what they are, but that was really pleasant, just being able to watch as the different shades of green and teal mingled together, and then I could play off of that a little bit more. So I found that when I do wet on wet, I like to often, not always, I like to layer several layers so that the color becomes more and more potent, but I try to match the color that's underneath it, and then those borders between, say, like a green and a turquoise, they are different each layer. They're not exact, but they're similar, and it creates this really beautiful diffused look so that color becomes truer and truer and brighter, but also just like hazy, almost like a Gaussian blur in Photoshop. And I really, really like that effect in the wings here. And I painted the background a much lighter shade first, and it was a little bit bluer. And then I decided that it just wasn't really feeling right. It wasn't what I wanted my pieces to feel like. I want them to feel darker and a little bit moodier. So I did another wash on top of the background that was a lot darker. And that decision actually was kind of hard to make because that first wash that I did, I used a very granulating paint. It was Lunar Blue, I believe, from Daniel Smith. I love that paint. It is so fascinating how it really granulates. So there's some areas where the pigment is almost non-existent. It's like sucked up into these little pools, and then those areas become really dark. So it does really like to separate. It's a wonderful paint to use if you want something really granulating. It's also really great to use in mixtures if you want something that has a little bit more coverage. It doesn't quite do this like separated look, but you still get a lot of granulation. But I used it. I loved the look of it. I loved the texture, but it just overall, the value just wasn't quite what I was looking for. And I think that making those decisions more and more are things, those steps are going to make my pieces better. They're going to make me happier with them, but they can be hard to do, making that step that you know is right, but you have to give something up to get there. But every time you do that, you'll get closer and closer, and you'll be able to see that before you go the wrong path, and you can keep yourself on the right path. At least that's what I'm hoping for myself, that the more that I see those and course correct and fix it, the less I'll actually have to do that, and I can just get it right. And just another reminder, this this piece, this character. She is one of the stickers for my March sticker pack, and you have until March 31st to sign up for that. That's this upcoming Saturday, so make sure to sign up for the sticker pack tier or the print tier if you'd like to get these stickers. And the judgment card is the print of March, so if you'd like to get the print and the sticker pack, make sure to sign up for the print tier. But I am so happy with how the judgment card turned out. I loved working on this one. I loved that it was a bit different from the other ones, and it's a little bit glowier and warm, and I'm just really pleased with this one. So I'm excited to see her as a print. I'm excited to send her out. And again, that's March 31st. That's the deadline to get these rewards. So if you'd like to get that, make sure to follow the link down in the description. That'll take you over to my Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and the original of this painting is sold. So thank you so much to the person who bought her. I hope you love her. I loved working on her. And that is officially it for today. So I'll see you guys next time.